Welcome to Plant the Love. We are going to talk about fostering wellness through the power of natural plants and positive mental health practices. I am your host, Ashley Rawson. On our show, you're going to hear from folks who have a lot of knowledge and expertise about this sneaky little subject. If you're curious if this path is right for you, you have come to the right place. We will empower you with information to make healthy, life-changing choices. We're so glad you're here. Now on to the episode. Disclaimer: the content in this show is for informational purposes only. It is not intended for medical advice. It does not take the place of treatment by a medical health professional. Listeners and viewers should consult with their doctor or medical health professional with any medical concerns. I am not a doctor. However, we do work closely with doctors when we review medications. I do not have a medical degree of any kind. What we are discussing has been in no way approved by the FDA. What I am sharing with you has been from my own experience and research. If you are taking any medication, do not make any changes until you consult your doctor. And now, let's start the Plant the Love show. Hey everybody, how are you? I am Ashley and welcome to Plant the Love. On the road again, back from St. Lucia and back in the US. Actually headed to treatment 2 for MDMA. We are on the road and really excited about this. I'm not nervous at all. I do know that this one, the second and third, based on the readings that I've done, these are going to be rough. The first one, God and the universe definitely was gentle on me. I talked about the muscle relaxation. These next two, I am looking forward to seeing what I'm going to see or who I'm going to see or what I'm going to experience or walk through so that I can heal the trauma. So, okay, I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. I'm watching all of this different stuff. And this world has gotten beyond polarized. The common courtesy is no longer common. Just walking along and simply trying to smile at people. There's so much agitation and stress going on that since the show is called Plant the Love, I thought that tonight would be a topic that is probably, for me, one of the keys to joy, the key to happiness. You want to know what it is? It's forgiveness. And the other word that I want to talk about tonight is resentment. Resentment. These little suckers are deadly. Okay, resentment is a feeling of anger or displeasure at something that is seen as insult, wrong, or injury. So, what a powerful word. Why am I bringing this up? Because what I'm seeing happening in the world right now is a lot of people wasting beautiful energy on resentments. Maybe one or two candidates, maybe your neighbor, maybe whatever. I have been in a program, I can't name the name because we're not supposed to, but I've been in a program for about 20 years. I was queen in my drinking years of, you did me wrong, I'm going to get you. And maybe I would think about ways to get back at that person. I would spend hours, days, weeks, months, years holding a resentment or anger toward a person. For someone that has the disease of alcoholism like I do, what I've learned, the resentment, nothing will kill me faster. Okay, so if I'm talking about a disease of alcoholism and a resentment, nothing will kill me faster than a resentment. And it actually says that. We're taught that. Then that's pretty powerful to learn how to let go of one. How do you do it? Practice. It takes practice. And so in my years of being with the program and the show being called Plant the Love and the topic tonight being resentment, then this blows people's minds, and it did mine. When I first came into the program, you have to do what's called a personal inventory. And you write down every person you're mad at. Oh, did I have fun with this? So you get to write down everybody that I'm mad at and what they did to me. Oh boy, I went crazy. And you spend some time doing that. And what they don't tell you is that when you sit back down with that person that's helping you and they say, now you write down what part you played. And I remember going, what part I played? What are you talking about? Do you know what they did to me? Do you see what they did to me? Oh, I was absolutely, completely, and totally a victim of this situation. Here's the reality. Oh, I absolutely played a part in all of it. And so, as adults, as human beings trying to grow, trying to plant the love in the world, one of the biggest things that I can tell you, and yes, I'm not perfect at this by any means. I can tell you that if you can figure out how to knock out resentments towards people, places, and things, you will learn to experience a joy beyond anything that you've ever imagined in your life. And as I've not perfected, but practiced and done quite well at it with most people, not all people. Let me give you an example. I remember when I first got into this program and I wrote down everybody that I was really unhappy about. And I had so much fun doing it because I was such an angry, angry person. I was angry at the world, myself, and of course, all of these individuals. And then when they tell you, you have to do this to stay alive, then it changes. But if we're all out in the world, you're not an alcoholic and you don't have the disease that I have where I have to get rid of a resentment or I will drink. And if I drink again, I'll die more than likely. Then you're not forced to do this. And so if the show is Plant the Love and we're talking about mindfulness and things that we can do to better ourselves and be better people in the world, I'm here to tell you, figure out how to let go of resentments. How? I hope that there is a possible belief in a higher power within you. Nobody's saying you got to believe in God. But if you believe in something bigger, something giant, bigger than yourself, I don't want to use the word pray, but I will use the word pray because that's what I do. Those people that I'm mad at, what I've learned to do is I pray for them. And I pray for them every day. If I'm not too tired, and in most cases, I get my little narrative in with who I choose to call God, my higher power. But in this program that I've worked in order to not drink so that I don't die, what I've learned is that if I stick to it, praying for that person, and okay, let's take the word pray out in this world that we're in. Think good thoughts. Think good wishes. How does that happen? Okay, think of your worst enemy. And I don't want to get too specific, but there was one in particular that was with me throughout most of my life that married my dad. That kind of is a dead giveaway. That was one on my resentment list I could not shake. My level of anger was really, really deep down in there. It wasn't hurting that person for me holding that within. It was giving me wrinkles. It was keeping me really mad and making me want to drink. I was a very angry human being. When the person helping me told me that I had to pray for this person, I think I said, F you, no way, it will never happen, and you've got to be crazy. And through time, of course, as I'm watching this person that's helping me, who is happy, joyous, free, not drinking, I'm thinking maybe there's something to this. And if they're telling me that the resentment for someone with my disease, that's the first thing that will get me drunk the fastest, then this is definitely something that I need to pay close attention to and learn how to do. And so what was really cool about this is that when I finally succumbed to the idea that this is something that I must do in order to stay alive, I said, do I have to mean it? And she said, well, the beautiful thing about God is that no, you don't have to mean it. You do the act. And then over time, as you continue to do it, then you mean it. And as you continue to mean it, then that resentment just starts going away into space, out of my body, out of my tissues. And, I've talked about on here, the issue is in the tissue. And I used to think that that saying in this program was the Kleenex that I was blowing into. The reality is the tissue is my actual DNA, my body, my mind, my spirit. And I was carrying around a lot of hatred and resentment toward people that didn't know I was mad at them, couldn't feel it. They were enjoying their day as far as I was concerned. I was the idiot sitting back, festering about what they did to me, be it days, weeks, months, years ago. And here's what I have found: you're wasting precious, precious time holding a resentment toward anything or anybody, and it will eat you up inside. Letting it go is difficult. You don't have to mean it at first. I don't want to start talking about God and all this stuff. We'll use higher power. To me, I choose to call him God. God to me is everything. Ashley tried running the world, and I wasn't very good at it. So I decided 20 years ago when I went into this program that it was time for me to step aside and let the person who I choose to call God to be drive my bus. And so I try to do that. Do I get back in the driver's seat? Absolutely. My hope is that I recognize I'm driving and then try to get up out of the way, go back and set a stat aside, and then let the person who I choose to call God drive my bus in my life. The action that it takes in forgiving someone, to me, from what I've learned, is praying for them. And so when we've got this political climate going on right now, I have to look at the anger and frustration that I feel. And is it toward a person or a party or a policy, or what is it? I have to look at it, because if I'm going about my wonderful life and my day, and I'm recognizing that I've got some negative thoughts, or maybe even something's getting me anxious and I'm boiling up this anger, how long am I festering talking about it? Am I letting go? Am I letting God? Am I letting the higher power, the universe, take care of it? Folks, loving in this society is almost like forgotten. I don't know where empathy went, but it's not out there. It's not around in very many corners anymore. I don't know if we just don't want to give it, or we're all just too mad. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but when I'm going to talk about me. What I did about that person is I prayed for them. And I'll tell you, at first it said, God, I pray for that bitch. And then I didn't mean it. And then I did it every night. And before I know it, the B word, I don't know if I can even cuss on NGBN TV, but the horrible word describing this person ended up being their name. And then over time, as I practiced this, I don't know, maybe they say 2 weeks. If you pray for a person for 2 weeks, that it's supposed to go away. And if it doesn't go away, then you pray for them for another 2 weeks. Why do we do this? Because forgiveness is a very powerful tool. And what I recognized and realized was the amount of energy and time that my mind, my mouth, my heart, and my energy and focus, so much of it was angry. And it's a yucky feeling. And when I start getting a lot of really good feelings, oh my gosh, I'm not mad at that person anymore. There's freedom in that. There's freedom in not letting that bother me today, or not letting them bother me today, or just, all right. Okay. So, some of the things that I found out really get me resentful: having an expectation of somebody else. That sets me up for failure every single time. It's hard to not, and then anyway, we're going to take a break. It's right back in the middle of the show. With our angry society, it would behoove all of us to take a vitamin that can actually calm our nervous system and help the endocannabinoid system, which is a system of cells that I talk about on here all the time that actually regulates inflammation in our bodies. And so part of Plant the Love, we talk about mindfulness, we talk about tonight resentments and positive energy. And then that other beautiful piece is the plants, the plant-based medicine that we talk about. And I tell you, if everybody bought a bottle from Osity Labs, their hemp CBD, and just took half a dropper before they went to bed one night, and maybe, I recommend you take a little bit before bed, just because we don't know how your body will react. And you take it morning and night like a vitamin. I think we'd all be a happier bunch because we wouldn't hurt. It would regulate inflammation in your body, and it definitely helps anxiety. Plant-based medicine is beautiful, and it's what we love to talk about. And I'm fortunate enough that one of, if the best plant-based hemp CBD products on the market is sponsoring Plant the Love on this show. And I'm so very, very grateful. And if you are just walking around like this, stressed out all the time, angry, why don't you buy yourself a little bottle of Osity hemp CBD, and it'll chill you out, just like it just takes you down a notch. And the beautiful thing is, our bodies were made to receive this oil. Yeah. Modern medicine doesn't want to tell us that, but the endocannabinoid system, Google it, go to YouTube. It is a system of cells that regulates inflammation in our bodies. In these cells are microscopic receptors called CB1, CB2, and they're continuing to find even more receptors. Hemp-based CBD hits one of those receptors, and it definitely can calm the body and, without a shadow of a doubt, help the body with inflammation. So that plug is definitely a hope that you will order that, because it's a wonderful vitamin that will definitely help all of us just chill out a little bit in this day and age that we're living in, as we talk about resentment. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after a word from Osity Labs.
Over the last several years, the hemp industry has exploded. And Osity is a company from the South taking charge of this new frontier. We start with our own world-class plant genetics and use organic and sustainable farming practices to nurture our seedlings into top-quality flower. Our award-winning team uses a state-of-the-art extraction process to isolate not just CBD, but other complementary cannabinoids like CBG and CBC. We remove impurities and then have our own in-house analysis team check and recheck the accuracy of our extracted distillate that goes into our finished products. Our CBD distillate is over 95% pure. Its integrity is unrivaled. We are the industry standard for purity, quality, and consistency. We have a variety of skin gels, edibles, and tinctures. Try our brand out for yourself, and you'll know what quality really means.
And we're back. Thank you, Osity Labs, for making such a pure, wonderful product. I'm so happy to be behind products like this. The fortunate but unfortunate thing is that there are way too many CBD oils on the market, and so it's very tricky to determine what to buy, how to buy it, how do you choose, how do you select. And I'm here to tell you, Osity is the best. They have done it from seed all the way to their finished product. And it's very consistent, which is also very important when you're dealing with plant-based medicine, is consistency. So I just quick little Google and wanted to just go down the list really quickly. Known benefits of CBD oil, and this is from the Chicago Athletic Club. Used for chronic pain management. Absolutely. Promotes restful sleep. Used for treating depression. Effective in treating PTSD, regulates stress, used in substance abuse treatment, arrests cancerous growth, strengthens cardiovascular system, treats irritable bowel syndrome, topical therapy for glaucoma, treats epilepsy and seizures, which is why I got into this medicine to begin with, and then has anti-inflammatory properties. So that big old long list, if you're not on a hemp CBD oil, and you should be, you should definitely order it from Osity Labs. And their price point is fabulous. So be sure to put in Plant the Love and get 20% off on your coupon. So adding a little bit of that CBD oil, and then let's get back into resentment. So, someone does us wrong or we're unhappy. I am unhappy. I might blow up. I might have anger, which is a normal human reaction. And then what do I do then? How long am I going to be mad at that person? That's the question that I have to ask. And I talk a lot about my alcoholism, and I'm here to tell you, if you're a drunk like me, nothing will get me drunk faster than a resentment, because they eat you away inside. They eat you away. And so if you're sitting back talking about someone angrily, disgusted by what they did or how they reacted or acted, how long are you going to hold on to that? How long are you going to let that eat you away inside? And that's what I had to ask myself. How long am I going to do that? That's where my alcoholism, I think, truly was a blessing in disguise. I've said that for quite a bit of my life now, that I do think my alcoholism has been a tremendous blessing, because without being forced to do something about the way that I was thinking and acting and feeling, I would have kept on going and I'd be dead like my sister. So I am grateful that I had the wherewithal, that I went in and asked people in whom the problem had been solved and got help. And one of the tools that I've learned from that program is the power of a resentment and what it can do to me spiritually. And if I'm trying to live happy, joyous, and free life as often as I can, then what I'm learning is that resentment's the number one offender. So nothing gets me drunk faster than a resentment. And it's not holding on to it for a couple of days. This is deep. And then what happens is, if we don't know how to get rid of those resentments, they just start piling up. And then you become a really ugly, angry human being. And it just comes out as just vile. And so that's, I don't know. I just, I'm glad I was forced to have to learn how to deal with resentments, or I was going to die. That was a choice. If you don't have alcoholism, wonderful. I'm glad. But I encourage you to try to want good things for that person that has done you wrong. Practice it. Practice it for 2 weeks. Somebody's really effed you over. What I do is pray. And what I will do is, dear Lord God, I pray for peace, prosperity, and happiness for blank. I pray that they have the same peace, joy, and happiness that I want in my life. That's what I do every day for 2 weeks. And if it's still there, I pray for them every day for 2 weeks. And if it's still there, you get where I'm going? I can't give up on trying to get that out. I don't want to carry that around, because what I have found from all my research, from mental health, alcoholism, human behaviors, therapy, group therapy, talk therapy, all of these different types of things. And even in looking at my beloved sister who passed away from alcoholism, she was one of the funniest people that I've ever met in my life. So funny. But she was angry. She had an underlying anger to her. And that's why she drank herself to death at the age of 44, because the anger just ate her alive. She was angry that she lost her son. She couldn't come to terms with it. Um, she was angry. And angry people get bitter. And bitter people, they're not fun to be around. And so my choice, do I want to be angry and bitter? And I encourage each of you to ask yourselves, do you want to walk around being angry and bitter? Or do you want to walk around trying to plant a little bit of love? Because, um, you know, did you guys know that kindness, being kind, will actually provide our brains with a chemical serotonin, which is like a happy pill, and it can last longer than an expensive purchase. Okay, so ladies, uh, I let's say you bought a beautiful purse and it's just you're on cloud nine, you've been wanting this thing forever, and then that wears off, doesn't it? It gets a little less exciting. When you're kind to someone, when you do a good deed that you don't go clout and tell people, you keep it to yourself, and it's just something that's, um, oh my gosh, it can be so little. And some things that I do, I'm not thanked for, and that's okay. But my gosh, when I am, oh, it feels marvelous. It feels so good to be kind, and it feels so nasty being angry. And so, um, one of the other things I learned in my program is there's on the beam, off the beam thinking. If you're on the beam and it starts listing all of these positive things, you're understanding, you're forgiving, you're resting, you're eating right, you're all the positive. If you're negative, and this is where I was, I couldn't stop thinking about drinking. I couldn't stop thinking about getting even with people. And now I'm at the point in my life where if you do me wrong, sure, I get angry and I get upset, but I don't retaliate. I don't do it because I well, I mean, I'm not perfect. There's definitely maybe a little bit of gossip retribution or something like that, but it's nowhere near what it was when I was drinking, where I'd have a planned uh, some form of sick retaliation that just brought on even worse energy. And so I'm almost out of time already. Um, Resentment, they're no fun. Pray for that person and you'll be a happier person. So go out and plant the love, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you again next week.